Today we're going to be discussing how to start your novel. After this video, you should be able to start your journey as an author. Number 1, jot down your ideas. A really good way to do that is to carry around a notebook or record those crazy ideas that come up in your head. As writers, we typically have tons of stories going on in our head, but we can only focus on one in particular, so all the other ones, put them in a notebook and go back to them. Number 2, do your research. So get books or watch videos about writing, or read a lot more. It's going to take a long time, but the more you read, the better your writing is. Whatever genre you choose, do research on it. Figure out what's popular in that genre, figure out what people are reading, and then figure out how to write in that genre. If you're writing fiction, what type of fiction? Are you writing romance? There are so many guides and helpful books and videos that can help you on your journey to becoming a good writer. There are 6 books that I recommend. I'm going to show you what they are. There are some for mystery, romance, and just basically a 101 on how to write a novel that I highly recommend that you read. Instead of showing you each book, I'm just taking pictures of 3 of them, and I'll show you the pictures. So here are the first 3. And here are the next 3. So go ahead and pause and get those titles and authors down, because I honestly believe that those are going to help you out, especially if you're writing romance or mystery. Number 3, pick your characters. So I do have a video about characters, and I will leave the link below. Definitely take a look at it. I'll go in a lot more detail in that video, but I just want to recommend that you have fun with your characters. Definitely make them different, and also don't make them perfect. Nobody's perfect, and no one really likes to read about perfect people. One more thing, try not to just throw characters in there just to fill up your chapters. Make your characters have a reason for being there. If it's to kill them off, then kill them off. If it's to make your protagonist show some emotion or something to do with the plot, don't just throw some characters in there because you want them in there. If things start getting crazy and you have 50 people on the battlefield and you're trying to have a one-on-one with 50 different characters, it's not going to work very well. Now, people writing in third person are going to have a little more difficult time with that because you want to get the senses, the story from almost everybody, or at least your main characters. But the first person, it's just that one person, so you could have 50 people on the field and not worry about it. But just make sure that you jot everything down. You write their name down, write who they are, write what their purpose is, so that you remember. Because believe me, readers are going to remember a character that was in the very first chapter, and they were supposed to be throughout the rest of the book, but they just disappeared. Moving on to number 4, make an outline. Now, I know this is everyone's favorite part, right? No? Okay. Well, you still gotta do it. It's gonna make everything so much easier. Believe me, I wrote my first book and I didn't do an outline. I did everything wrong, and I ended up putting it down and not returning, and I still haven't went back to it yet because I got so overwhelmed. So learn from my mistake. And there are literally tons and tons of ways to do an outline. You can cut out little pieces of paper of ideas, scatter them around on the floor and try to figure out which one goes where. You can do the sticky notes on the board, and you can do a bubble outline. You can do all different kinds of things. The one I'm going to show you is what I like to use, but remember, this is about what you like to use. So try different things out. See which one works for you and see which one keeps you organized. You can even use things like Scrivener, and even I've actually seen a lot of things on Word that most people don't know about, that you can keep things organized and you can color coordinate things. Just do it. This is the way I like to do it. You can write it on a piece of paper, you can write it on a board, anything that you want, and it's really good for adding things on the side. So I get the main chapters, the main things in my structure, and I can add other things like subplots. And if you're wondering what a structure of a novel is, again, I did a 3-part video on this, so I am hooking you up. Okay, so it'll be down below. Check it out. It is basically a one-on-one on how to structure your novel. Moving on to number 5, start writing. So this is the hardest step for writers. I don't know why, but you can never start the book, or if you do, you start chapter 1 and you spend the next 5 years trying to do chapter 3 and 4. I don't know what happened to 2. You skipped it. So my recommendation is start with what you love. If you love building those characters, start with that. If you love building your fantasy world, start with that. Writing a novel is so much more bigger than chapter 1 to chapter 28, or however many chapters you have. And remember, no one said that you have to go in order. It is not a law that you have to start with chapter 1 and go all the way to the climax and end. You can start with the climax, or you can start with the end and work your way back. You can start in the middle. Usually the middle is the hardest to write, but you could start there. I also recommend to start on paper. I know it's easier to start on the laptop, but a lot of people get stuck on the laptop. It has something to do with the light shining back at you. Just start on paper. You can write a lot more on paper. Just start putting your ideas. That was actually my outline for the sequel of my book. Just put down the important parts that you want in your novel. If you want your protagonist to save the world, well, put that in there. Or if you're doing an erotica, some hot sex scenes, put it in there. Sorry, I know, I'm getting a little dramatic. I have a lot of friends that love writing, but they always get stuck. And this one is for you guys. I love you guys. Number 6, save up money. Now, if you're a broke mofo like this one, then getting the editor, getting all the tools needed for writing and for researching, definitely save up money, because it does take a lot of money, and I'm sorry, but this is a full-time job. Believe me, if you start saving now, it'll be a lot easier once the book is finished and you have to start sending it to an editor, because some editors are really expensive. Number 7, start marketing yourself as an author. Now, I know what you're thinking. I'm just a beginner. I haven't even written my first chapter yet. Why should I start marketing myself? Well, marketing yourself is how you're going to sell books, especially if you're doing the self-publishing route. And you have to get every social media. You have to start doing maybe a YouTube channel, maybe fan fiction, or anything that is going to promote your writing and who you are as a writer. Then by the time your book is finished, your book baby, you're going to have at least 1,000 people ready to buy it. And 1,000 people buying your book is pretty awesome, right? I think so. Do you think so? You think so? We all think so. We want more. Okie dokie, all YouTubers. That's all I have for you today. Thank you so much for joining me. Hopefully this is going to help you on your journey to becoming an author. If you like this video, definitely subscribe. I love talking to people, so comment me, tweet me at Tasha Y. Miller. I have a website, I have a Tumblr, all that fancy cool stuff. You can use any of them and contact me. Just remember, you're doing this because you love it. You want to show your book baby to the world. You have these fantastic ideas up inside of your noggin. You just have to push them out through these right here, the fingers, and start writing. Alright, bye.
Writing for a dream is not what it seems, for choosing one theme isn't true to the scene of rapid, tumultuous spawning, met by slow dawning of impressions given to us on whim. We can't begin.